Grand Rising loves. This is the altar spread for the collective today. So the sacred geometry that showed up for today is divine doorway. This is about being a portal. And I remember Spirit coming to me as a little girl and telling me that I was a portal, and I had no idea what that meant. And as I come into myself, I can really understand what that means now. And I anchored cosmic energy into Gaia. And so the divine doorway has shown up today, upright, to tell you to connect with that divine doorway within yourself that connects you to all that is. And so the lotus represents enlightenment, but if you can see the spiral pattern, the Taurus, and then also the beautiful Mayan calendar deep within that, and then the angel represents guardianship in that path. And so when you take that journey inward to your divine self, then you have access to all that is, but all the wisdom that is, and your birthright of wisdom. And there is no hierarchy in that resonance or that vibration. And when you access that, you start to realize that there's really no harm, no foul. Everything has a rhyme, a reason, a purpose. And that's where ego dissolves. And that's the existence that is unity consciousness. And so I love this card to show up today, because that's the work that I always say, put in the work. If you're walking your talk, that's the work, the communing deeply with yourself. Really, that's the only work, because we're all divine servants here on earth. And when you put in that work, everything else becomes effortless. You understand why you're here, what your purpose is, what you're meant to do, who you're meant to do it with. And it becomes so crystal clear. And that's the work. So I love that showed up. Blade showed up in the reverse. And so blade is the masculine energy, right? That active energy. But what the blade represents is boundaries, the clearing. It purifies, right? So if the blade is wielded properly, right? So this goes back to intent. It can be used as a divine tool, right? Pointed to the sky, we are claiming something. We are manifesting, making a directive power. If it's pointed to the ground, that will actually ground energy. That anchors energy into earth, right? So again, like the portal energy. But if it's wielded through trauma response or toxic response, it can actually kill, wound, maim. And so showing up in the reverse, the blade is saying, be really careful how you are reacting. Are you reacting from trauma? Are you reacting in a toxic way instead of wielding the blade with proper intent? So instead, wield the blade with proper intent and free yourself. So cut those etheric cords and energetic connections. Free yourself from any toxic connections instead of responding to the toxic connections. And so an interesting play happens that I want to talk about too, because it seems whenever I sever etheric cords and energetic connections, those people always show up. And the reason why is because I know that I am a wellspring of divine energy. And so when I sever those connections, it is felt. So I just want to warn you that when you do sever etheric cords and connections, sometimes those people will reach out to you because they are grasping. They can feel the loss of that source. And so they will grab at it and try to get that back. And I've had that happen very recently because I cleared so much space. So this is even like social media space. I cleared all of that. I wielded the blade with proper intent, and I created so much space in my life. And in the past week, I just had like a flood of old energy come in, and I was like, whoa. And but I used my male energy in such a powerful way to speak boundaries. And I was proud of myself because it wasn't a trauma response. It wasn't ego defensive. It was my way of saying, this isn't okay. Like, back the fuck up, because this is no longer your space. And I was proud of myself for that. So the universe will do that, right? You sever the cords, you sever the energetic connections, and they'll feel it, so they'll come back. So then it becomes your work to say, you know what, this really isn't serving me. So if you're pussyfooting around cutting certain people off, remember the universe will get confused about that and say, send him back. Let's make sure that she's really sure about this. Oh yeah, like I was not wavering. So I'm like, yeah, I'm really sure. So it was good for me. It was very empowering for me. So I just wanted you to be very aware that can actually play out for you as well. Now, citrine showed up. I love citrine. So citrine is a quartz, right? And all the different shades and personalities of quartz get those personalities and colors from the temperature of the environment in which they were birthed and created. And so citrine is a yellow quartz. And a lot of the citrine that you get today is actually just heated amethyst. So you have to be very aware of that you might not actually be getting citrine, and ask them. You can ask, because if the crystal dealer that you're working with is on the up and up, they'll be honest about it. No, that's heat treated amethyst. And that's why I have very specific people that I buy from, because I know that they're in the business because they're divine servants and they're on the up and up. So like Crystal Blue Vibrations in San Diego, and Crystal Magic in Sedona, and Jill from Dynamite Rocks on eBay, and T-Rocks in Quartzsite, all the shout outs. But this beautiful one I got from Jill. So this is actually from the Congo. I'm going to see if you can get the rainbow, because it has an amazing rainbow in it. So this is a natural citrine from the Congo. And so citrine is about manifestation. It's the abundance stone. Oh, I can't get I'm so sad about that. It has such an amazing rainbow, and I'm kind of I actually keep this in a beautiful dish in my bathroom, so that all my clients, when they come for healing sessions, or my guests, it's at the perfect angle to get that rainbow when they're washing their hands, so they get that flash of power from the citrine. And I can't get it to show but okay, so don't get too jealous, because I'm sharing her with you. But this is actually a Kundalini quartz from the Congo as well. And so that's a natural citrine. It's a beautiful honey citrine, but the Kundalini quartz. So I wanted to show this because citrine does connect with those energies, the sacral and the solar plexus. And those, I gotta plug in my phone because it's saying low battery. I don't know what the heck that's about. Probably all that energy. Okay. So it connects with those two energies. So the sacral is a powerful space of creation. So this is about co-creating your reality, right? And the solar plexus is believed in Eastern teaching to be the seat of the soul. But the sacral houses knowledge of true self. The solar plexus houses knowledge of path and purpose, right? So when you marry those two spaces, you are completely aligned and you create and manifest your reality for the highest divine good, okay? But if you are manifesting from ego, meaning that you're still operating from programming, then you base your success on what you were taught is a marker of success, right? So like, that's the flaw of attraction. And I'm using Matt Kahn's saying. I love that he says that, because that's exactly how I feel about the quote unquote secret. It's really a flaw of attraction, not the law of attraction. Because you have people trying to manifest like Maseratis, like that is such a shallow existence, and you will become miserable in that existence. So that's what citrine, it teaches, manifesting from a divine place, not manifesting from ego. So when you manifest from ego, you can get abundance after abundance after abundance, and all it will create is misery. No matter how much you have, it'll never be enough. And we all know someone like that, right? That makes so much money, but they still drive themselves to work like 60 hours a day, or you know what I'm saying? They're like, or 60 hours a week, sorry. They just push themselves to extreme limits because it's just not ever enough. Like, when is enough? Because there's no joy in it. There's no depth to their manifesting. And that's why there's that lack of substance or lack of satiety. Like they're never satisfied. So citrine teaches to manifest from the divine place. Like there it is. If you can see it, like right here, really beautiful rainbow. So if you're manifesting for your highest good and from that divine place, when you're completely aligned, you're satisfied. You are so satisfied. Now, Uluka Vahini has shown up before. She who rides the owl brings justice. And I love when this card shows, because owl is my totem. But so she actually is the goddess of karma, remember? So she comes to right any adharma. Adharma is that which is against nature, that which is against your highest good, that which is against all that is love. So anything that dark forces, malicious forces, shallow forces are all being eradicated. And that's what I've been talking about now for months and months and months, that all of that dense energy is being eradicated. That's why so many people are being pushed to level up. And if they're not, they're being eradicated. And that's why we're seeing mass deaths. That's why we're seeing violence. That's why we're seeing all of this. And so there's a stage of spiritual growth where you go through this period of rage, right? Because that's when you start to see everything for what it really is, and you start to see how awful the world is, and how so many people are operating from ego and greed, and it feels almost physically painful. It's really excruciating to the person who's conscious, because they feel all that. And then they feel like there's no justice. Like, how do we fix this? And so you go through a period of rage, and that's usually like the first steps of awakening. And so you're going to see a lot of that right now. because so many people who weren't really aware and awake are starting to awaken. And so they're in that, I call it conspiracy theory phase of enlightenment, where they're like, don't you know that this is going on? Open your eyes, wake the fuck up. And they're like, they're totally raging all the time. And that's okay, because they're going to come out of that. They're going to start to move past it to see that everything is as it should be, that everything has a role, and it will correct itself. I mean, that's what's happening. And the teachers like myself, like I had to remove myself from social media because the dialogue was shallow. And I am on a path that I need depth, and I was not finding that outside of myself. I was only finding that inside myself. And I was keeping social media really out of fear, thinking that I needed it to stay in connection with my clients, but that's a lie, because I resonate at a very specific level, and anyone who needs me will find me. I'm not hiding, and being off of social media is not hiding. And so I had to heal that scarcity soul wound that's really deeper than Sherry, and say that's a lie. And so now I'm sitting in peace, and I love that, and sharing my citrine with you. So anyhow, that's the spread for today. Like, commune with yourself and work on the intent around clearing space, so that when you clear this space, communing with yourself, clearing the space, you can actually create from a place that's aligned. And don't worry about all the things that are outside of you, because there are forces taking care of that. It doesn't have to be you. Just saying. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me.